Who can tell me what's profit and what's loss? So basically, guys, to put it in the most simplest of fashions, if I have a pen, right, and I have bought the pen, I buy it for say rupees 100. I go out and there's say Unmana, and I sell the pen to her for rupees 150. Now, is this benefiting me? Yes, it is. How much is the profit that I am making? I'm making a profit of rupees 50. As simple as that. Now say I have bought the same pen for rupees 100, but I sell it to Sayal at rupees 70. Now did I gain something over here? No, I lost. Why? Because I sold it to him at a price lesser than what I bought it for. So what is it? It is rupees 30. Now what is this 30? This 30 is a loss for me, and this 50 is a gain or profit for me. As simple as this. Is this clear? Now what do I want to discuss? I want to discuss something called CP and something called SP. Now what is CP? CP is simply nothing else but the cost price. That is the price at which I buy an article. It can be anything. It can be pen, X, Y, Z, whatever. The price at which I am buying the article or I buy an article is simply the cost price. Now, guys, whenever you say buy an article, for example, if you bought a refrigerator or if you bought a very big TV and if you want to bring it home, the company charges you something called transportation. They tell you that from the showroom, in order to take it to your house, we are going to charge you a certain amount, which is your transportation. Or there can be any kind of taxes or any kind of fitting expenses. Say there are any kind of repairs, anything. All these are nothing else but your additional costs, right? In addition to what you pay for your television, for your refrigerator, etc. Now, does the cost price only include the cost of the television or the refrigerator, or does it include all these additional costs which are also called as overheads? What do you think, Priscilla?
Sir, it includes the overhead.
Exactly. So basically, whenever we are talking about the cost price, we're talking about the net cost price, where we are talking about the cost price of the article or the product or whatever you purchase, along with all these additional expenses. Now, selling price is obviously the price at which you sell the article. Now, how can we connect cost price and selling price to profit and loss? So, for example, if I have cost price, all right, and I have a selling price. If my selling price is more than my cost price, I end up with a profit or a gain. Simple, clear? On the other hand, if my cost price is greater than my selling price, I end up with something called a loss. Let's see how percentages are to be used over here in profit and loss. My question is, I've bought a pen for rupees 100. Now, instead of telling you that I sold the pen, the same pen at rupees 130, let me not take this. Let me tell you, I bought the pen for rupees 100 and I wanted to sell the same pen at a profit of 30%. Now, what would the selling price be? Simple. If I bought a pen at rupees 100, you remember what we did in percentages? I calculated 30% of 100, that is 30 by 100. So what do I get the profit as? 30 rupees. Exactly. Now when I've bought the article or the pen at rupees 100 and I say that my profit that I want to make is 30 rupees. So what is the price I should sell it for? Obviously cost price plus my profit, logically. So I have to sell it for rupees 130. Is this clear? Let me reverse the question. Let me go the other way around. If I tell you I have bought a pen for rupees 100 and I have sold the same pen for rupees 130. My question to you is, what is the profit percentage or loss percentage? Now, first and foremost, tell me whether we're going to get a profit or a loss. That's question number one.
Profit.
Okay. Now, how do I calculate the profit percentage? How did we calculate percentages in the previous session? We had something called the initial value. We had something called the final value. We said that if the initial value is 100 and the final value is 150, there is an increase of 50. So that was the change, and the increase was always on the initial value. Initial value was 100. And if I had to get it as a percentage, I multiplied it by 100. So the percentage change was 50%. If this logic is clear, we understood that there was a 50% change. That is when a number moved from 100 to 150. Now, if the cost price was 100, now what is the cost price? The cost price, think about the cost price as the initial value of the product. When I add the profit margin, I get the selling price, which is the final value of the product. So now my question is, if the cost price is 100 and the selling price is 130, what would be the profit percentage or the gain percentage? Forget the formula, forget all this.
30%.
30%.
Now, how did you get 30%? Can you tell it to me so that I can write it down?
It's just the same way how we got to know like 30 rupees profit. Like
Exactly. It's the same application of the concept of percentages. That's the reason we're discussing today's topic after doing percentages. Now, from 100 was my initial value, it became 130. There is obviously an increase of 30 rupees. Now, this increase, because I want to calculate the percentage, this increase of 30 is on what? Is it on 100 rupees or is the increase on 130 rupees? The increase is on 100 rupees, right? Initial value always came in the denominator, and we also understood why. Now, if I have to calculate the percentage, I am simply going to multiply it by 100. When I cancel, I am going to end up with a 30% profit. If the same question would have said, the cost price of the pen was rupees 100 and Unmana wanted to sell it at a loss of 40%. What would the selling price of the pen become? Or say there is no loss of 40. I am telling you that the cost price is 100 and the selling price of the pen was, say, 75 rupees. Now, what is the profit percentage or the loss percentage? First, decide whether we have a profit or a loss. What is it, Unmana? Do we have a profit or do we have a loss?
It's a loss.
So we have a loss. Now, what is the loss percentage, Unmana? Stay on call and finish this. What is the loss percentage now?
So 25%.
Right. How do you get that? We got 25. That is our cost price minus selling price. Because it was a negative figure, we are talking about a loss. What is the initial value? Initial value was 100. That is our cost price. Because I wanted to find a percentage, I multiplied it by 100. 25% was my loss.